Right, so I've done a little bit of code, and what I've done is I've verified that the Wi-Fi module will work. So if I turn this on, there's some bars on the right hand side, so I'm using the 4 characters on the right hand side which are sort of off the screen for the original LCD. I've got some extra dots on this display relative to the LCD, and I'm using this for some Wi-Fi status. So the W is just that the Wi-Fi is working, and that's just flashing on every certain number of loops around an idle loop. The S means that it's set up, so that's actually created a Wi-Fi hotspot. This is now generating a hotspot which I can log on to with my computer. So if I do that here, I'm just going to select the ESP Wi-Fi hotspot. Now what I can do then is I can refresh the screen, or refresh this page, and you can see that whatever's on the screen of the organiser here appears on the computer. I've also got the ticks, which is just a counter that goes up every time we go around an idle loop. So if I move to the main menu and refresh the page, out comes the main menu. You don't get the 4 characters on the far right hand side because they're not really very useful, and also at the moment user defined characters are a bit of a problem. I don't have anything for rendering those, so they come out as spaces on the web page. But you could do something about that. Now, because it's an emulator, you've got access to absolutely everything inside this organiser, so you can read port values, you can read the RAM, you could dump the RAM, dump the ROM, everything is available. And equally you could send things into the organiser, you could simulate key presses or whatever. It's just a matter of writing the code now. So this is verified that everything's working, so there's a serial data link to the Wi-Fi module, and the Wi-Fi module can actually communicate when it's in that environment, soldered to the board with my laptop. The module I've used is a WROOM, a WROOM module. It's an ESP32 based thing, I think, and it does Wi-Fi and it also does Bluetooth, so it should be possible to get Bluetooth working, but I haven't looked at that. For me, Wi-Fi is more convenient. Bluetooth I've always had trouble connecting to other devices, but it is in there, and there's only one link to that unit over a serial data link, and you should be able to do Bluetooth and everything else, everything that module is capable of doing. So that's quite good. I can go into something like, let's go to time, and then just refresh that. That comes out quite nicely. Clock's still not working. If you go to utilities and info, you've got well, we haven't got anything very useful in terms of putting bar graphs up there, but you've got pack A. That won't appear because user defined characters are being used to generate the bar graph. The numbers are there, but not the user defined characters. And let's go to something like, let's come out of utilities. There you go, it's month, so it's January 1989, and yeah, that appears. So yeah, I mean it's going to be able to, I mean you're going to be able to transfer data over this, but it's a 115/200 data link, so that's going to limit you as to how fast you can actually send and receive data, but having it on Wi-Fi is quite convenient. Yeah, so it takes quite a bit more current, so when it was running earlier, it's not doing it now, but the module does get warm, and it does warm the back of the organiser, so in cold weather you can use it to warm your hands. But the downside of that is it takes more power. It runs about 200 milliamps with the module on. It is possible with the hardware I've got to turn that module off under code control, so you could actually turn the thing on, do some stuff over Wi-Fi, and then turn it off again. That is fully feasible. it's probably better doing that sort of thing with Bluetooth though. That makes a bit more sense than having a hotspot that appears and disappears. So for ease of use, I've set this up so that it generates its own hotspot, and you connect to it and then do stuff on an HTTP IP address there. It is possible for it to log on to another Wi-Fi network and appear that way, so you could do that, but obviously then you've got the problem with authentication, so it's a bit easier doing it this way, and there's no security on this at all. At the moment you just log in and that's it. So the pages that it presents are really as complicated as the firmware that you feel like writing. Yeah, so it should be possible to get some code within the organiser this end which understands the format of the data files within the RAM, and then you could pull out various bits and bobs from within notepads or the database or whatever. So everything is accessible there now over Wi-Fi.